All right, 2 in 1 day.
2 in 1?
We are back for another Walking Dead What If. We got a little sidetracked the other one, so we're going to try and stay more on track for this one. But before we start, I need to introduce us. I'm Justin.
Yeah, you're Justin. I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. We talk about The Walking Dead, obviously from the name, but we do other things. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. We really have some cool stuff on the way. Everything from like conspiracy discussion podcasts to urban exploration. Lots of cool stuff on the way for this channel. All you have to do is make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell beside the subscribe button so that you get notified every time that we post something. But without further ado, let's get the show on the road with another Walking Dead What If. You ready, JP?
What are we talking about? We're going back to the What If universe?
Yeah. Okay. The parallel universes that we create. What if Rick would have just killed Negan?
Just let him bleed out?
What if he would have just slit his throat right there on the spot? Let him bleed out. Maybe even let Maggie walk up and shoot him in the face or whatever Maggie would have wanted to have done to him. Spit on him, kick him, pee on him, whatever. Get her piece for him killing her husband. My question to you is, what good would have came from it, and what bad do you think would have came from it?
Well, I mean, it goes back to that time-old question, is might right? Can you use might for right? Because he's pretty much establishing the law of the land as an eye for an eye, you know?
Right.
And I don't know if that's a world I want to live in, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, granted, I'd rather die than be buried in a cell for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, that is like being buried alive. I mean,
had he have killed him, do you think that would have meant the death of more of his people? Do you think they would have, followed Rick's lead of killing Negan and just started slaughtering the generals and everybody when they had him on that battlefield? They were all, surrendered with their hands up. Do you think once Rick would have killed Negan, they would have just killed some of them?
I couldn't see that happening. Because, I mean, they were disarmed. A lot of them were disfingered, thanks to Eugene.
Yeah.
But
we didn't see too many injuries, did we? I didn't pay that much attention to this season. That's my phone, by the way, my pop socket.
Eugene did see somebody. It was in the bullet factory thing. Like somebody it was at the camp where they're making the bridge. Somebody
was that what it was?
Like a thumb,
I didn't pay attention enough to see that.
Eugene did notice the fruits of his labor, so to speak, was somebody missing.
He made
digits.
something of his pathetic life, or was it worthless life? It was worthless.
Yeah, He definitely took some fingers and thumbs with him.
Well, we know Maggie and Rick's relationship would have been far better. Far better. You know what I mean?
There wouldn't have been the dissent there.
Do you think that that if Rick would have just killed Negan, would Rick still be on the show? I mean, obviously, we get that Andrew Lincoln wanted to leave. Blah, 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 blah. But we're saying in the Walking Dead world where actors' decisions, I guess, aren't really the driving factors, per se. Do you think that if, say, he killed Negan, him and Maggie don't have any problems, or he let her come and finish him off, he and Maggie would be in great graces, you know what I mean? And Daryl, his relationship would have been a little bit better with Daryl. After killing Negan, do you think he would have tried to have helped the Sanctuary? Or do you think he would have just been because Daryl obviously wasn't happy about that, being that he's kind of feeding into that brutality of, okay, well, let's just kill Negan to get revenge. Do you think he would have been we're not helping the Sanctuary. We'll let you live, but you're on your own?
No, I think Rick's attitude towards them would have stayed the same. It's just, I think the Sanctuary
even though they remain loyal, even though they remain loyal to Negan when they had plenty of chance to, Dwight, he helped them.
Yeah, I still think he would have wanted cooperation amongst all the communities and helped them get back on their feet. But I think the Sanctuary might have been more reluctant to join into this new Confederacy,
right?
If I can call it that.
Well, I mean, especially some of them might have been okay. Some of them were glad Negan was gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
there were still some loyalists, but I mean that's kind of plays into what Rick was trying to avoid, making Negan a martyr.
I definitely think
would have.
I definitely think that it would have the whole Rick, the herd, all of that would have played out much differently because, I mean, it's a butterfly effect. I mean, really, you can go back and just undo everything. You could say that the herd situation might not have even happened had he kept Negan alive. You know what I mean? Circumstances would have been different. Rick wouldn't have been heading off to, you know what I mean? Rick wouldn't have been heading off to meet Maggie for showing up at Alexandria, and then Daryl wouldn't have sidetracked him. You know what I mean? Like, none of that. It's so many things, so many variables that it is hard. I mean, like, one little action could have changed the landscape. Killing Negan could have created an entirely different world, which is why I love exploring these parallel universes.
Absolutely. I think it definitely would have justified Oceanside's provocation for taking out, his lieutenants.
And we know they would have continued to take out. We know they would have done that a lot sooner if Rick would have killed Negan, because they would have followed Rick's example.
Yeah, they would have just been like, Rick, so you can settle your beef, but we can't squash ours.
Right, which could have led to some
more turmoil.
Yeah.
Turmoil.
But do you think it would have worked out for the better or worse in the long run? I bet you could hear that on the mic. Probably. It was like an ambulance or something.
Yeah. But Gazoon type.
Woo! Don't know if I've ever sneezed on the podcast before. I might usually cut off the mic or something. But so, do you think that leaving Negan or killing Negan would have made things better in the long run or worse?
I think it was the right call to leave him alive.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, it's might versus right,
Well, and it's funny that you say that's why Rick didn't want to kill Negan, because he didn't want him to be a martyr, because that's why Negan didn't want to kill Rick. Like, at least I know they kind of went into that with the comics. I don't know if it was so much in the show, but he didn't want to kill Rick because he was the leader. He would have just been a martyr and inspired rebellion and insurrection, and so he didn't kill. That's why he killed Glenn.
Bloodshed's the law of the land. Where does it stop?
Yep.
I mean, if you're from Hilltop and I'm from Sanctuary and you steal my horse, am I allowed to kill you? Well, why not? Rick killed Negan for wronging him. Where does it end?
But I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm yawning. I'm sneezing. There's ambulances. I don't know what has happened.
Everything's breaking down.
This fabric of just society is reality is just coming unraveled in front of us. But I think that'd be a different story, though. It's like, hey, he stole my horse. Rick killed Negan, but Negan killed Rick's friends and a lot of other people.
Well, it's a fine line. I mean, it's like I said, you're establishing the precedent. If you step out of the lines, that's your life partner. In the Old West, you get hung for stealing a horse.
Yes, you would. Well, we've already determined that when the zombie apocalypse comes, that we're going to have to survive. So we've had little plans and discussions and stuff, our own little off the mic what ifs. So let's say right now we're running a community. What is your I guess law? What is your stance on murder? Like, when is it acceptable to kill someone in this little apocalyptic society? There's no government, there's no police force coming, nothing. It's just us and our people.
No, man.
You're one of the leaders, and I come to you and I say, we're running this place. I come to you, I say, all right, Fred just killed Mark because Mark stole some of his some stuff out of his garden. How do we handle this? Do we say you only murder in self-defense if someone's trying to murder you? Do you say that murder is not acceptable within these walls? How would you do it? Get me into the mind of J.P. Trump. It's
a case-by-case thing, man. I mean, you got to look at all the little details.
So you would be more for trials.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to investigate and get all the facts. And, absolutely. In some cases, the death penalty, you got to use it.
What would you
in those circumstances?
So let's say Fred killed Mark because Mark snuck some carrots out of Fred's garden. How would you handle that?
I mean, if it was cold-blooded murder,
like just so in your land, stealing vegetables is not justifiable to murder.
Yeah, if you just walked over there and shot him in the head and took your carrots back, that ain't no good. But if you went over there to confront him for doing that, and he started getting in your face, and
so if he gets in your face but he doesn't attack you, you can shoot him?
No, but I'm just saying it. It depends on how the situation escalates.
I just like picking your brain just to see how you would handle these situations.
There's a lot of mitigating factors, And
it'd be easier in that scenario. Oh my God, I'm doing it again. WTF, man. But it really, with a smaller group like that, a case by case basis probably is But you're still not going to make everybody happy. There's still going to be people there that was like, he was justified to kill him. He stole his vegetables. And then some people are going to be like, so we murder vegetables are more important or take precedent over human lives. So,
I mean, that's kind of how the Hatfield-McCoy beef started.
I love it.
Like a pig or something.
Well, it was. I just watched that again the other day. It started when Hatfield abandoned, ran off, was abandoned, basically. Deserted. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. He deserted, and then, he didn't, McCoy didn't want nothing to do with him, and then Hatfield would look to be a McCoy pig, and I love that. If you've never seen that, it's on Netflix now, actually. I didn't know that until recently, but Hatfields and McCoys, man, with Bill Paxton and Kevin Costner. It's
fantastic.
Awesome,
Best
dude.
thing Kevin Costner's done in years.
I liked Mr. Brooks, which that actually was like 2007 or 6 or somewhere like that.
I don't think I saw that.
Good movie. But anyways, so that's that. Let us know in the comments, how would things be different? You think that ultimately Negan had to live, that things would have ultimately been worse had Negan had been killed. Mm-hmm. And see, I don't know. I kind of think that a lot would have been avoided. Now, it's not. Now, understand when I say that Negan should have been killed, I'm not saying in the moral. I'm really sorry. This is the second podcast we've done today, and on our other podcast, we were just talking about. We've both had an interview about four different interviews on our radio stations this morning, and my brain is not working. I had to interview somebody last night. Had to MC this show and this performer and interview them in front of an audience and stuff. So I've asked a lot of questions, and my brain is just not working. But so when I say he should have killed him, I'm talking about the morality of it, like, the philosophy of, did Negan deserve to die? No, I'm saying looking at the repercussions and how things may have played out after Negan died, I honestly think things might have played out a little bit better if Negan would have died. Like I said, Maggie and Rick, forgetting that we may have never even gotten to this point to begin with because of the butterfly effect. You just don't, there's so many variables of things that would have changed if this would have happened. But let's just say we got to this point, like I said, Rick wouldn't have got the call that Maggie just arrived at Alexandria. Daryl wouldn't have tried to distract Rick by taking him on a motorcycle ride in the other direction. They wouldn't have got to fighting. They wouldn't have fallen in the hole. You know what I mean? Like
it may have avoided that specific situation, but I think, like, big picture, it would have counteracted what Rick was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, you may be right. And again, don't get it twisted. I'm not advocating that Rick should have killed him in the sense of it was the right thing to do. I'm just talking about looking at where things would be had Negan have been killed. I mean, that jail cell would probably be empty. Nothing will bring Carl back. Ken might still be alive.
Yeah, I don't care about Ken. I can't remember who he is half the time.
Ken might still be alive. You might not have to be dealing... Well, Henry may have still made his way to...
I don't know how Morgan would have felt about it. I mean, he left anyway, but he probably would have left even sooner if that happened.
Yeah. Maybe he would have stuck around and tried to... Maybe that's why he left, because he was like, Rick don't need me no more. Rick has made a change.
Morgan, but
no. Yeah, that's more of a Rick.
Yeah,
that's more of a Daryl.
Yeah.
Rick don't need me no more. Maybe, Morgan would be like, he don't need me no more. Dang, I can't do it, Morgan.
We're going to work on the Morgan.
I can't do any of them, but I really can't do it.
Your Daryl a lot of times is pretty spot on for a silly Daryl impersonation, but Morgan's a tough one. He's got a lot of bass in his voice.
It's Dare Bear.
Yeah,
but yeah. Yeah, I love Lenny James, man. I really would love for him to... I mean, he's great on Fear, but I would love for him to come back to The Walking Dead. I want to see him come back and his reaction to Rick not being there. Hearing what's happened to Rick. But yeah, so what if? It's like I said, there's just so many things. We may could continue this conversation if we have some points from listeners. So let us know in the comments section some things that we have to take into consideration. You guys are like such deep thinkers. You always look into it much better than we do. So if you think of a situation or things that would have happened as a result of Negan dying, let us know in the comments section. Would it have been better or would it have been worse had Negan have just been killed? But then we wouldn't get the awesome Negan storyline that we're going to have coming up here soon. So
yeah,
all in all, I'm glad he's alive.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
But with Christmas coming up, I can't guarantee a podcast until at least about Wednesday. But
we're going to see what we can do.
Regardless, we hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas and safe holidays. Spend it with somebody that you care about. And
assuming you care about people, you could be like me and just, want to spend the whole day at the movie theater.
He cares about people.
I don't care.
He cares about his girlfriend.
No, I don't care about anyone. No one.
So you look up John LaJoie's, what is it? I Don't Care About Anything. That's your song. That's your anthem right now.
Maybe it is.
But we will see you next week. And like I said, happy holidays. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, please hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the bell beside the subscribe button to get notified whenever we release content. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.